Good morning, students. So today's topic that we discussed, that is the lungs. So lungs, they are the paired organ. They are very essential organ for respiration, and they invaginate into corresponding pleural sac. So pleura, these pleura, they are the coverings of lung. Okay, two types of pleura are there: visceral pleura and parietal pleura. The lung is invested in the pulmonary pleura except the hilum. This total lung is invested in the pulmonary pleura except the hilum. So this is the hilum of the lung. So hilum is not invested. Hilum and the attachment of pulmonary ligament. So this is hilum and this is the attachment of pulmonary ligament. This part is not invested into the pleura. Rest of the lung is invested into the pleura. So what are the characteristic features? Lung is porous and highly elastic and spongy in texture. You see, spongy in texture and porous and highly elastic. They are the essential organ for respiration. In newborn, when respiration starts, and then if there is a mishap and death of that newborn, after the first respiration, then the lung floats into the water. But in case of stillborn, when the fetus is not able to complete the first respiration, then the lung sinks into the water. Okay, so this is the difference and forensic importance of the lung. So what are the presenting parts? So lung have presenting parts: apex, base. This is the apex of the lung, base of the lung, borders and surfaces. Borders and surfaces will be discussed later on. First, we concerned about the apex and base, and after discussing the borders and surfaces, I will tell the lobes of the lung and some idea about the bronchopulmonary segment. Okay, so first the apex. The key line of the apex, the key sentence of the apex is: the apex is not a point but an area. Okay, it is not a point but an area. Okay, so the apex, it is the left lung. So how do you determine the left and right will be discussed later on. First, you should know the apex. Okay, this is the left lung. So this is the left lung. So apex of the left lung is this. Why I am holding this apex like this? Because this is the first rib. Now you just memorize the first rib, and you open your book and place your book just side of my video and open the page where the impressions and attachment of first rib is there. Because to know the apex, you must know and must remember the attachments and relations of the first rib. Okay, so it is not a point but the area, and the impression of first rib, above the impression of first rib, this is the apex. So above the impression of first rib, this is the impression of first rib, this is the apex. You see, it is very clear in this right lung. This is the impression of apex, first rib. Okay, this is the impression of first rib. See, this is the impression. So above the impression of first rib, this is the impression. So this above the impression of first rib, this part is the apex. Okay, it is the apex is rounded in shape and situated at the root of the neck. Now you know the boundary of the root of the neck: anteriorly clavicle, posteriorly superior border of scapula, and medially first rib. So above the root of the neck, the summit of the apex. Summit is the most prominent and most upper part. Okay, the summit of the apex, it is 3.3 to 4 centimeter above the first costal cartilage. So if this is the first rib, then below the first rib, this is the first costal cartilage. So 3 to 4 centimeter above the first costal cartilage, this is the summit. And in front, there is clavicle. So above 2.5 centimeter above the clavicle, that is the summit of the apex. Summit of the apex. Okay. Now, apex of the lung and its covering pleura are very vulnerable to a stab wound through the root of the lung. Okay. So, root of the lung is better to say a hollow and depressed part. Okay. So this root of the lung, if there is a stab wound at the root of the lung, it is very much prone zone to a punctured wound of the lungs and pleura. Okay. Now this apex is covered by cervical pleura, which is strengthened externally by the suprapleural membrane. Now suprapleural membrane, it extends from the last cervical vertebra to first thoracic vertebra. Okay. So the suprapleural membrane. Now you must know the structures related with this apex. Okay, structure related with this apex. It is very easy to remember the structure related with this apex. Now, in front of the apex, just remember the two major vessels which are present at the upper surface of the first rib. That is subclavian artery and subclavian vein. I think you remember that subclavian vein that lodges the groove in front of the subclavian artery. Subclavian vein in front and subclavian artery behind. Okay. Another thing, the origin of internal thoracic artery, which arises from the first part of subclavian artery, and scalenus anterior muscle. Now, I think you remember scalenus anterior is also attached at this portion of the first rib. So, the anterior to the apex, the relation of the anterior to the apex are nothing but the relation of the upper border of the first rib. Now, posterior of the apex, the relation of the posterior of the apex or behind the apex, that is nothing but the structures related with the neck of the first rib. So this is the head of the first rib, this is the neck of the first rib, and this is the body of the first rib. So if the first rib is close the apex like this, then this is the neck of the apex. Neck of the apex. So what are the structures related to the neck of the apex? Medial to lateral, sympathetic trunk, first posterior intercostal vein, superior intercostal artery, and ascending branch of ventral rami of first thoracic nerve, or you can say the T1 or lower trunk of brachial plexus. Okay, so these are the structures related posteriorly. So anteriorly, the structure related with the superior surface of the first rib. Posteriorly, the structure related with the neck of the first rib. Laterally, one very important muscle which is related with the lateral side of the first rib, that is scalenus medius and lower trunk of brachial plexus. And medially the relation is differ between the two lungs for right and left. Okay, so for the right lung, this is the right lung, the right brachiocephalic vein, brachiocephalic trunk and trachea accompanied by the vagus nerve. Okay, it will be discussed later on with the mediastinal surface. And for the left lung, left brachiocephalic vein, left subclavian artery, left edge of esophagus and thoracic duct. You just remember, it will be discussed later on with the mediastinal surface. Okay, now the base. This is the base of right lung, base of right lung and base of left lung. Base of right lung is much more wider than the base of left lung. The base of right lung are usually both the base, the right and left lung are situated over the dome of the diaphragm. Okay, so right and left dome. So basically the base of right lung are over the right lobe of liver. Okay, so base is concave and semilunar in shape. Base of the right lung is more concave than the left due to the liver. So relation, the upper surface of corresponding half of diaphragm on the right side, right lobe of liver, on the left side, left lobe of liver along with stomach and spleen, along with stomach and spleen. Okay, so now we will discuss the surfaces of the lung. So what are the surfaces of the lung? Okay, before going into the surface, let's discuss the other features. Okay, before going into the surface, let's discuss the other features. So what are the other features? So to know the surface, we must know which side of lung is this. Okay, so we must know the borders. The main important border which guide us to know the anterior and posterior, that is the anterior border. So this is the anterior border. You see, this is a sharp projecting border. This is anterior border. This is the anterior border, sharp projecting border. Okay, it is thin. It is very thin. Okay, it is very thin anterior border sandwiched between the anterior thoracic wall and pericardium. So heart is like this. So pericardium and the anterior thoracic wall, it is sandwiched between this. Okay, so anterior border of the right lung, this is the right lung, follows the costo-mediastinal reflection of pleura. Okay, it will be discussed later on with the pleura. Just remember, the thin border is the anterior border, and this thick border which looks like surface, this thick border which looks like a surface is the posterior border. Okay, this thick border which looks like a surface is the posterior border. So this is anterior, this is posterior. Apex, superior, base, inferior. Okay, so anterior, superior, anterior, posterior, superior, inferior. So we just want the medial and lateral, medial and lateral. Okay, so this is the posterior border. So why this posterior border is broad and rounded? Because the lung is situated posteriorly in the paravertebral gutter. So this is the vertebral column, and the ribs are originated from the vertebra like this, like this. So this is the paravertebral gutter. So in the paravertebral gutter, the lung situated. So posterior border rests on the paravertebral gutter, and the inferior border, this is the inferior border. Inferior border is the circumscribed border which separates the base of the lung from the costal and medial surface. Costal and medial surface. So we must know what are the costal and medial surface. So costal surface, you see, this is the costal surface. We can easily see the impression of the ribs and costal cartilages. The impression of the ribs and costal cartilages. Impression of the ribs and costal cartilages. These are the costal surface. This surface is the costal surface. External surface or outer surface or lateral surface. Okay, and the medial surface. Now the medial surface of the lung, it is further consists of anterior, the medial surface is a two part, vertebral part and mediastinal part. Vertebral part and mediastinal part. So this is the medial surface total. So vertebral part is flat and related with the bodies of vertebra. Vertebral part is flat and related with the bodies of vertebra and intervertebral disc of upper 10 thoracic vertebra. Posterior intercostal vessels, greater and lesser splanchnic nerve, and rest of this surface is known as the mediastinal surface, which is direct communicate with the mediastinum. Mediastinum is the area between the two lungs. So this is the mediastinum. So this surface is the mediastinal surface. This surface is the mediastinal surface. This is the vertebral surface. Okay. So medial surface is consist of a posterior or vertebral part and anterior or mediastinal part. Okay, so medial surface medially and costal surface laterally. So we can hold the lung like this, upper and lower, above, below, apex and base, apex above, base below, anterior border anteriorly, posterior border posteriorly, external surface or the lateral surface laterally, the costal surface, and the mediastinal surface medially. So we can hold the lung like this, or you can hold the lung like this. Okay, so this is the left sided lung, left lung, and this is the right lung, apex, base. This is the costal surface externally, mediastinal surface medially, and anterior, sharp anterior border anterior. Okay, so this is right lung and left lung. Okay, now costal surface, I have already mentioned that it is convex and smooth and related with the lateral thoracic wall, separated by costal pleura and endothoracic fossa. It presents the impression of ribs and costal cartilages. Okay, the number of ribs in relation, upper 6 ribs in mid-clavicular line. It is very important, upper 6 ribs. Now imagine the rib cage. The upper 6 ribs, they are almost horizontally placed like this. Now the lower ribs, they are originated from here, and they attached with the lower part of sternum, that is xiphoid process. Okay, so like this. Okay, so in the mid clavicular line, if this is the left lung, if this is the clavicle, then this is the mid clavicular line. So mid clavicular line, upper 6 ribs are in close relation. In mid axillary line, this is the mid axillary line, upper 8 ribs, and the scapular line, interscapular line, that is the upper 10 ribs. Okay, upper 10 ribs in the scapular line. So this upper 10 ribs in the scapular line, 6 ribs, 8 ribs and 10 ribs. So the ribs are like this. So these are the lower ribs and these are the upper ribs. Now for the medial surface, we must know the difference between the mediastinal surface of the right and left lung. First, the hilum of the lung. So hilum, it is the gateway. Okay, 2 terms you must remember, that is the hilum and root. If hilum is the gateway, root is the passage, root is the corridor. Okay, where all the structures come and it goes out or come in into the lung and or from lung through the hilum. So root of the lung is the gateway, the passage, and the hilum is the gateway. So, and the root of the lung is the tubular sheath, which projects as the pulmonary ligament. This is the pulmonary ligament. Okay. So the structures of the hilum. Is differ in between the 2 lungs. For the right lung, above downward, first the ape arterial bronchus. This is the ape arterial bronchus. Okay, if you feel the structure, you can easily see that this is the bronchus. Okay, ape arterial bronchus or upper lobe bronchus. Then the pulmonary artery. Okay, pulmonary artery. Then right principal bronchus. It is the right principal bronchus. Okay, apartorial bronchus, pulmonary artery, right principal bronchus, and lower pulmonary vein. Lower pulmonary vein from above downward, and from before backward. From before backward, the upper pulmonary vein, that is the upper pulmonary vein, and pulmonary artery. This is the pulmonary artery, upper pulmonary vein, pulmonary artery, and the bronchus with bronchial vessels. Bronchus with bronchial vessels. Okay, so bronchus with bronchial vessels. So this is the relation of above downward and before backward. Okay, so above downward is the apartorial bronchus or apartorial bronchus, then artery, apartorial bronchus, then artery, then right principal bronchus, then the bronchial vessel, and before backward, this is the artery, vein, artery, bronchus, vein, artery, bronchus. Okay, so apartorial bronchus you can exclude when you trace from before backward. Apartorial bronchus you can exclude. Okay, so for the left lung, the above downward, for the above downward, there is no apartorial bronchus. Okay, only you can remember the bronchus, artery, and vein. Bronchus, artery, vein from above downward, and from before backward, vein, artery, bronchus. Okay. Now for the left lung, from above downward, artery, bronchus, vein. So artery, bronchus, vein, artery, bronchus, vein, above downward. Okay, artery, this is the artery, bronchus, vein, and before backward, the pulmonary vein, this is the pulmonary artery, before backward, pulmonary vein, pulmonary artery, and the bronchus with bronchial vessels. This is the bronchus with bronchial vessels. Okay, vein, artery, bronchus, and bronchial vessels. Okay, now for the right lung, there are some impressions and depressions of the related viscera present present beside the lungs in the mediastinum and with the close relation of these lungs. Okay, so first for the right lung, you can see this is the cardiac impression. Okay, cardiac impression. So cardiac impression of the right lung, which part of heart is in close contact with the right lung? The right atrium, right ventricle, and right auricle. Okay, right auricle, right atrium, and part of right ventricle. All right. Okay, so this is the cardiac impression. Now if this is the impression of right atrium, this should be the impression of the superior vena cava. Okay, so this is superior vena cava. Okay, superior vena cava, and which structure drain into the superior vena cava? That is the brachiocephalic vein. The right brachiocephalic vein enters into the superior vena cava. So just above the cardiac impression, it is the impression of the superior vena cava, and above the superior vena cava, right brachiocephalic vein. And you know, in right side there is a system called Agigas system of vein or Agigas venous system. So this is the arch of Agigas vein. So arch of Agigas vein also drain into the superior vena cava. So this is the arch of Agigas vein which drains to superior vena cava, and this is the brachiocephalic vein, right brachiocephalic vein, which enters into the superior vena cava. Okay, so this is the arch of azagus vein. Arch of azagus vein. Okay, now after the arch of azagus vein, when this arch at the mid portion of this arch, there is a impression, not very clear. It is the impression of trachea and right vagus. Trachea and right vagus. Okay, so this is the mid portion of the azagus vein. Impression of trachea and right vagus. It is not very clear. Trachea and right vagus. Okay, so behind the trachea and right vagus, there is a small impression of the esophagus. Small impression of the esophagus. Okay, so esophagus, impression of the esophagus is very much prominent on the left side, very small on the right side. So on the right vagus and trachea. So behind the right vagus and trachea, if we can see an impression, that is the impression of brachiocephalic trunk. Brachiocephalic trunk. Okay, brachiocephalic trunk. So these are the impression of the right lung. Now there are various impression of the left lung. So left lung, so right lung, mainly the impressions are venous impression. Left lung, these impressions are the arterial impression, or the major arteries are there. Okay, so this is a very depressed area for the cardiac impression. Cardiac impression. Okay, this is the cardiac impression. Okay, cardiac impression. Above the cardiac impression, this is the impression of the arch of aorta. Arch of aorta. And this is the impression of the descending thoracic aorta. Arch of aorta, descending thoracic aorta. Okay, so arch of aorta, descending thoracic aorta. So from the arch of aorta, there are two major vessels arises: left subclavian and left common carotid. Left subclavian and left common carotid. Okay, left subclavian and left common carotid. Behind the left subclavian, there is another impression for the esophagus. Esophagus, and behind the esophagus, thoracic duct. Esophagus and thoracic duct. Okay, esophagus and thoracic duct. Now this esophageal impression behind the arterial system above. Now this esophageal impression, if you trace the esophageal impression below, it is in front of the arterial system. In front of the arterial system. So this is the esophageal impression below, descending thoracic aorta behind. Esophageal impression, descending thoracic aorta. This is the descending thoracic aorta, esophageal impression. Okay, so these are the impressions of the left side. So the difference between hilum I have already mentioned, and other impressions is already discussed. Now the lobes of the lung. The lobes of the lung. You see, the right lung, it consists of 3 lobes, and left lung 2 lobes, but these are not constant. Okay, during the development, the lung is a lobulated one. Okay, so lung lobulated one, lobulate from the lobulated structure, the lung develop. Okay, now at the right, both left and right lung, this oblique fissure, it is constant. Oblique fissure present in both the lung. For the right lung, one horizontal fissure present. Okay, one horizontal fissure present. Now this horizontal fissure, it divides the right lung into 3 parts: upper, middle and lower. Upper lobe, middle lobe and lower lobe. And this oblique fissure, it divides the left lung into 2 lobes, upper lobe and lower lobe. Now suppose if there is a cut mark, or the cut injury of this viscera. There is a sharp cutting of the viscera. Okay, like this. This is the sharp cutting of the viscera. Now if we cut the viscera and we want to make the horizontal fissure over this left lung, then can we differentiate that this fissure is artificial, this fissure is not real? Yes, we can differentiate. But how? Because if we cut the viscera, we cannot trace the pleura. Okay, we cannot trace the pleura. It is the lung matter, it is the parenchyma, the lung parenchyma. We can easily see the lung parenchyma if we cut through the lung, but here we cannot see the parenchyma, but we can see or we can trace the glistening pleura which covers the lung. Okay, glistening pleura which covers the lung. See, pleura, this is all a pleura, and this is the cut area. We can see the lung parenchyma, not glistening. Okay, so these are the fissures and lobes of the lung. Now I can end this discussion after the bronchopulmonary segment. The bronchopulmonary segment. Now, what are the bronchopulmonary segment? Bronchopulmonary segment means the terminal bronchus, the trachea, it bifurcates into right and left bronchus, main bronchus, and from those main bronchus there are these are the primary bronchus. Then what are the structures? Secondary bronchus and tertiary bronchus. According to some author, there are some other parts or other small bronchus deviated from the tertiary bronchus. Okay, some other parts deviated from the tertiary bronchus. Or according to some author, tertiary bronchus is also called as segmental bronchus. But there is a controversy between them, the tertiary bronchus and the segmental bronchus. Okay, so what are the bronchopulmonary segment? So for the right lung, the bronchopulmonary segment, right lung, the bronchopulmonary, both the lung, the bronchopulmonary segment are 10. Okay, so for the right lung, the bronchopulmonary segment are divided into 3 parts: for the upper lobe, for the middle lobe, and for the lower lobe. So for the upper lobe, apical, posterior and anterior. So this is apical, anterior